You think you know how money works. You've read the articles, maybe skimmed a book or two. You've heard the advice so many times, it feels like common sense. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of what your brain believes about money isn't based on logic. It's based on fear, social programming, and instincts that were calibrated for a world without banks, stock markets, or salary negotiations. And those beliefs are costing you. Quietly, consistently, every single day. This isn't about intelligence. Some of the most financially paralyzed people on Earth are extraordinarily smart. The problem isn't your IQ, it's your wiring. So today, you're going to meet 7 of the most dangerous money beliefs your brain holds as absolute truth. Beliefs that feel completely rational, even virtuous. And you're going to see exactly why each one is working against you. Let's start with the one that almost nobody questions. Number 1, more income solves everything. There's a thought your brain returns to constantly when money feels tight. It sounds like this: if I just earned more, everything would be fine. It's the thought behind every promotion you've chased, every side hustle you've half started, every moment of staring at your ceiling at 2 a.m. And it's not entirely wrong. Income matters. But the belief that income alone is the solution is one of the most financially destructive ideas a person can hold, because it keeps the focus permanently external.
Here's what actually happens when income rises without financial behavior changing. Spending rises to match it, almost exactly. Lifestyle inflation isn't a moral failing. It's a documented, predictable psychological response. Researchers call it the hedonic treadmill, the tendency for humans to return to a stable baseline of satisfaction regardless of what changes in their external circumstances. Dr. Philip Brickman demonstrated this as far back as 1978 in a study comparing lottery winners to paraplegic accident victims. Within a year of their life-changing events, both groups had returned to roughly the same emotional baseline they'd had before. More money hadn't made the lottery winners sustainably happier. More hardship hadn't made the accident victims sustainably more miserable. Your brain adapts. That's its job. So when income goes up, the brain doesn't file it under security achieved. It files it under new normal. And then it begins looking for the next thing to want. The people who reach financial independence aren't, on average, the highest earners in the room. They're the people who learned that the gap between income and spending is the only number that matters, and they protected that gap fiercely at every income level. More money won't fix the belief. Changing the belief is what fixes the money. Number 2, saving money means sacrificing your life. Somewhere along the way, your brain absorbed a deeply false binary. Either you spend and live fully, or you save and live like you're punishing yourself. This belief is so pervasive, it's almost invisible. It shows up every time you rationalize a purchase as treating yourself. Every time a savings goal feels like a diet. Every time the word frugal lands in your brain with a faint sense of shame. But this framing, spending equals living, saving equals deprivation, is a manufactured one. And it wasn't manufactured by accident. Consumer culture as a system depends on you believing that your purchases are expressions of your identity, your love, your freedom, your personality. Every advertisement you've ever seen has been quietly reinforcing the idea that buying things is how you feel alive, that delaying a purchase is denying yourself something essential. The behavioral science tells a different story. Researcher Elizabeth Dunn at the University of British Columbia spent years studying the relationship between spending and happiness. What she found consistently was that the type of spending mattered far more than the amount. Spending on experiences over objects, spending on others over yourself, spending that creates connection over spending that signals status. None of those things require more money. They require different priorities. The people who reach financial freedom early don't feel deprived. Most describe the opposite: a clarity, a lightness, a sense that their spending finally aligns with what they actually value, not what they were told to value.
Saving isn't the sacrifice. Spending decades working a job you'd leave tomorrow if you could, that's the sacrifice. The belief just has the two confused. Number 3, debt is normal, so it must be okay. This one is subtle because it hides behind a word that feels neutral, normal. Your brain treats normalcy as safety. If everyone around you is doing something, the ancient social circuitry in your skull reads that as a signal that the behavior is survivable, perhaps even correct. And debt is everywhere. Mortgages, car loans, student loans, credit cards, buy now, pay later schemes attached to everything from laptops to mattresses. Nearly every adult you know carries some form of it, so it must be fine. But normal has never meant optimal. Normal in 1950 meant smoking was fine. Normal in many places still means retirement is impossible.
Normal is just a description of what the majority is doing, not a prescription for what works. Here's what debt actually does to your financial life, beyond the obvious. It mortgages your future labor. Every debt payment you make is a claim on hours of your life that haven't happened yet. You are working right now for decisions you made months or years ago. The research on financial stress consistently shows that debt, particularly consumer debt, is one of the strongest predictors of chronic anxiety, sleep disruption, and relationship conflict. A 2013 study published in the journal Social Science and Medicine found that people with high debt-to-asset ratios had significantly worse mental health outcomes and higher perceived stress than those without, even after controlling for income. That's not a fringe finding. That's debt doing exactly what debt does, extracting not just money, but cognitive and emotional bandwidth, month after month. The belief that debt is normal makes it invisible. Invisible problems don't get solved. Pause here for a moment, because this is the part of the video where something important usually happens. You're roughly halfway through, and there's a good chance one of these 3 beliefs landed somewhere uncomfortable. Maybe it named something you've been doing. Maybe it described a thought you've had so many times it had started to feel like a fact. That discomfort isn't a bad sign. It's the exact moment when a belief becomes visible, and visible beliefs can be changed. If this is useful, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There are 4 more beliefs ahead, and the next one might be the most counterintuitive of all. Number 4, investing is for people who already have money. Ask most people why they haven't started investing yet, and you'll hear some version of this belief dressed up in different clothes. I'll start when I have more saved. I don't have enough to make it worth it. I need to pay off this debt first. I'm not the kind of person who does that. That's not a fringe finding. That's debt doing exactly what debt does, extracting not just money, but cognitive and emotional bandwidth, month after month. The belief that debt is normal makes it invisible. Invisible problems don't get solved. Pause here for a moment, because this is the part of the video where something important usually happens. You're roughly halfway through, and there's a good chance one of these 3 beliefs landed somewhere uncomfortable. Maybe it named something you've been doing. Maybe it described a thought you've had so many times it had started to feel like a fact. That discomfort isn't a bad sign. It's the exact moment when a belief becomes visible, and visible beliefs can be changed. If this is useful, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There are 4 more beliefs ahead, and the next one might be the most counterintuitive of all. Number 4, investing is for people who already have money. Ask most people why they haven't started investing yet, and you'll hear some version of this belief dressed up in different clothes. I'll start when I have more saved. I don't have enough to make it worth it. I need to pay off this debt first. I'm not the kind of person who does that. Each of these is a rationalization built on the same false foundation, that investing requires a meaningful sum to begin. It doesn't. The belief that investing is for people who already have money is perhaps the most expensive belief on this list, because its cost is invisible.
You don't see the account that doesn't exist. You don't miss the compounding that never started. But it's happening. Every month the belief holds, the gap widens. Number 5, a budget means tracking every penny. Here's a belief that doesn't sound dangerous. In fact, it sounds responsible. But for millions of people, this belief is the exact reason they've never had a functioning budget. Because the version of budgeting they believe in, the spreadsheet with 47 categories, the receipt scanning app, the guilt every time the coffee line doesn't balance, is exhausting. And exhausting systems get abandoned. So they abandon it. And then they feel like failures. And then they avoid thinking about money altogether. And then their finances drift. This is what behavioral economists call a system design problem. When a system requires too much friction to maintain, it doesn't fail because the person is weak. It fails because the system was poorly designed.
Richard Thaler, whose Nobel Prize-winning work on behavioral economics reshaped how governments and institutions think about financial decision-making, showed repeatedly that the most effective financial systems aren't the most detailed ones. They're the ones designed to require the fewest active decisions. The most powerful budget most people can implement is not a tracking system at all. It's an automation system. Pay yourself first. Move money to savings and investments before it ever reaches your spending account. And then spend whatever remains without guilt or spreadsheets. Simple, low friction, sustainable. The belief that budgeting means meticulous tracking keeps people cycling through elaborate systems they can't maintain, feeling ashamed when they inevitably quit, and concluding they're just bad at money. They're not bad at money. They were handed a bad system and told it was the only one.
Number 6, financial freedom is only for high earners. Stop here, because this is the belief the entire financial independence conversation tends to hinge on, and it's the one most people use to opt out before they've truly explored the math. The argument usually sounds like this. Those people who retire at 40 must have had high-paying tech jobs, or inherited money, or gotten lucky. That's not my situation. That path isn't available to me. And sometimes that argument contains a kernel of truth. Privilege exists. Income disparities are real. Not everyone starts from the same position. But the belief that financial freedom is gated behind a high income is statistically inaccurate, and the research on this is unambiguous.
Thomas Stanley and William Danko spent decades studying the actual financial behaviors of wealthy Americans for their landmark research later published as The Millionaire Next Door. What they found defied almost every cultural assumption. The majority of people with genuine, lasting financial independence were not high earners. They were ordinary income earners with an extraordinarily high savings rate and an extremely low tolerance for lifestyle inflation. The formula for financial independence has never been earn a lot. It has always been spend significantly less than you earn, invest the difference consistently, and give it time. A person earning a modest salary who saves aggressively can reach financial independence faster than a high earner who inflates their lifestyle to match every raise. The math doesn't lie. The belief that income is the gatekeeper is self-sealing. It creates a reason not to try, which ensures the outcome it predicted. Number 7, you have to understand everything before you start. This is the last belief, and in some ways the most insidious, because it sounds like wisdom. I want to make sure I really understand this before I commit. I've been researching it. I'm going to start once I feel confident. It sounds like diligence. It functions like paralysis. The financial world is genuinely complex. There are thousands of investment vehicles, tax strategies, asset classes, economic theories, competing philosophies. You could study for years and still find legitimate uncertainty. But the people who wait for certainty before beginning never begin. Because certainty in financial decision-making doesn't arrive. Markets are uncertain by nature. The future is uncertain. Even the experts disagree constantly. What actually builds financial security isn't perfect knowledge. It's consistent, simple action taken imperfectly over a long period of time.
Psychologist Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset showed that people who believe their abilities can improve through effort outperform those who believe competence is fixed, even when the fixed mindset individuals start with more knowledge. The willingness to act, fail, adjust, and continue is what produces results, not front-loaded mastery. You don't need to understand everything. You need to understand enough to take the next step. And the next step is almost always simpler than the belief makes it feel. So here is where you are now. 7 beliefs. 7 places where your brain has been running on old software in a world that's moved on. Each one felt true. Each one had evidence that seemed to support it. Each one was built, at least in part, by forces that benefit from you staying exactly where you are. Uncertain, overwhelmed, deferred.
But you've seen them now, named them. And a belief that has a name is no longer invisible. Tonight, when the thought comes, the one that says you don't earn enough yet, or you'll start later, or this isn't for someone like you, you'll know what it is. Not a fact, not common sense, just old software. And old software can be updated.